Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a very fun and unexpected video for you guys this evening. That is because we are playing a game on the Pioneer LaserActive via Ares Emulation nightly builds. But this isn't one of the Mega LD games from the Sega Genesis pack. This is one of the PC Engine LDRom games. Technically the name is LDRom2 because it is square, but I'm just going to call it LDRom from now on. Because as of yesterday, this now emulates in a nightly build of Ares. So we have both the Mega LD games as well as the LDRom games completely emulatable now, and to say that that is a major achievement would be an understatement. No one ever expected to see these games emulate, and if you wanted to play them, you would have to buy thousands of dollars of equipment and hope you got a good copy of the Laserdisc. That way you could actually enjoy it. You're talking about like $2,500, $3,000 to experience one game. But people out there decided that wasn't going to work. They wanted these things to emulate, so that's exactly where we are today. Before we get too much further involved though, if you're going to be a huge favorite down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But what you're seeing right now is footage of Vajra running in Ares on a nightly build. Maybe it's pronounced Vadra, I do not know, but I'm going to go with the more polite saying as far as the game title is concerned. Now everything you see on screen that looks like that high quality video is running directly off the Laserdisc, or in this instance a dump of that disc. And a lot of times they'll actually combine more than one Laserdisc together just to get around some of that bit rot. That way you can actually get the best quality video possible. When I did this on the Mega LD, you knew that Pyramid Patrol had a couple areas where there was no clean capture of the Laserdisc, not just because they do suffer from rot sometimes, but I would say that the capture looks astonishingly clean. Anything that looks like a sprite is going to be running on the PC Engine hardware, including all of the heads-up displays, so you kind of have two different things married together. If you kind of think about how the 32X works, you have the 32X layer and the Sega Genesis layer. That's exactly what the LDRoms are doing. The Pioneer LaserActive is running all the video off the Laserdisc, and then the PC Engine hardware is running all the data that would be the graphics for the sprites and heads-up display. And I would say this game definitely has a very nice look to it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bulk Slash on Sega Saturn, except much earlier. It's basically just a first-person shmup where you're going to be taking on other bots in this arena, trying to keep their bullets from hitting you while doing damage to them. And as far as the Laserdisc games are concerned, I would say that Vajra here is definitely my favorite of the ones I played, demonstrating this on video. But honestly, just getting this in emulation in the first place is insane, and I'm so stoked we have it. As we move into the next bot fight right here, I love this golden hour sunset. There's something so kitschy, so cheesy, and so amazing to look at when it comes to those 3D models from back in the early 90s. Not many things have textures on them whatsoever. You have the sprites, but I love how everything kind of just looks like this 3D model, a la something like Escape from New York, where Snake Plissken flies into New York on that glider. It's one of those things. This always has had an amazing look, this combination of FMV and sprite work, and you never got as good a quality back in the day unless you were on Laserdisc. Now, of course, these games are going to be more limited than the PC Engine CD counterparts, but that's just because it is a completely different format. And to say that these things were rare and exceedingly so back in the day would be an understatement. I did not know a single person that ever owned a Pioneer LaserActive growing up. It wasn't just for the rich families, it was for the absolutely wealthy families. You think Neo Geo was expensive? Well, put Pioneer LaserActive next to it, and it looks like an absolute deal. But if you knew anyone who had these back in the 90s, leave me a comment down below, because I've yet to find a single person that said their family had one or anybody they knew had one. Sure, some people had Laserdisc players, but that was about it. But this is just an awesome development in the world of emulation, and honestly 2025 has been a hot year for video game emulation in general. And these are the deep end of the deep cuts as far as games are concerned, and as far as hardware is concerned. If nobody ever spent any time to try to get these things to emulate, no one would really be too surprised by that. But dedicated fans out there did exactly that, and we're getting to the point now where every single game that you could play on the Laserdisc ROM and the Mega LD is going to be preserved in Ares for all time. But I'm going to go into the soundtrack sample next, and if you're wondering why I'm not playing the game, it's because the bullet sound effect you shoot out drowns out all of the music and is slightly annoying in my opinion. So you're going to hear the game play, you're going to get some audio, but you're not actually going to hear me shooting as it gets in the way. 45 seconds or so, and I'll be right back to talk more about the emulation and how you can test it out today. Okay, I gave you a little bit more than 45 seconds there because honestly, it might be the first time you've ever heard a game like Vajra actually being played, because I'm not even sure if there's any real hardware captures out there. Because again, this hardware is just rare. It is finicky to keep alive. Basically, all of it needs to be recapped in the packs before it just rots away with electrolytic cap fluid, killing the traces on the board. And that's why so many of these things are just dead, and now they command the price they do. So if you do want to play this one, it actually is relatively easy. You're just going to be spending a lot of time downloading torrents. But if we go over to the Ares GitHub, I will leave a link in the description below. You're going to see official releases, and then underneath that, you're also going to see something called nightly builds. This is not in the official releases. If you download it, you won't have the LDRom, and you won't have the Mega LD from Sega either in the emulation. It's going to be under Pioneer now. But if you click that pre-release icon right there, you're going to get download options for both Mac and Windows. If you want the Macintosh version, it's going to be Mac OS Universal, and if you want the Windows version, just grab Ares Windows-X64. That's going to be the one you want to use, because that is the one I used. Additionally, there is a website talking about everything that will run on here with some torrents, so you can try to grab some of these games so long as you legally own them, and I will leave that in the link below as well. That way you can grab them, but trust me, these games are going to be between 30 and 60 gigabytes to actually download, and because there's not a lot of seeds out there, it might take you 8 hours or so. But let's move into the second fight in Vajra here, because this one might be my favorite, and it also kind of perfectly explains exactly what the game is trying to do as far as it being a game. You'll see here we have the opponent sprite, and it's flying around the screen, and all you need to do is hit it. But these opponents definitely move around a ton, and I love how the camera sweeps along with the actual movement of the sprite, that it really does do its best job of trying to make it seem like you were in this video. Now, of course, it is incongruent, the video quality versus the sprite, but as the sprite turns to the right, so does the video, so it does its best job of mirroring the visuals on screen to the sprites being drawn by the PC engine. And that definitely is no feat, because sometimes those FMV games really felt disconnected from reality, where they had graphics drawing over the top, but the video kind of felt otherworldly and like it didn't actually belong. And I'm sure that's no small feat, because you have to have that sprite animate and turn to the right at the exact same time that the camera pans to the right, and if he turns to the left, the camera has to pan at the exact same time as well. So getting all that data to match up with the video in the background and the sprites in the foreground must have been a pretty interesting thing to do in code, because again, if they weren't working in conjunction, you would absolutely be able to tell. And I love kind of flying through these trees here. You can see just how well this video quality actually holds up. And as far as what sort of system they used to render this 3D on, I have absolutely no idea what they were using back in the early 90s, so if you do know, leave me a comment down below. All I know is it's an absolutely early 90s vibe. It is so quintessentially janky, like 3D animations and renders were back in the day, and I absolutely love that aesthetic. Kind of feels like Iron Soldier if Iron Soldier was pre-rendered, not actually running in polygons in the Atari Jaguar. But you will see here some of these bosses' life bars, they're just absolute bullet sponges. You're going to get 3 different health ups at the start of a continue, and you have to pop those off when you're about to die, but you do not get any more outside of finding some bonuses in the world. So if you get to the 2nd or 3rd level and you have none left, you're going to have to take a continue to actually beat the game. And this thing definitely is exceedingly difficult as well. Those bosses again are just bullet sponges. They're going to absorb everything you can throw at them. But even if you lose this game 10, 15, 20 times in a row, the reality is it doesn't matter, because as of a few days ago, the only way you could actually experience Vajra or any other LDRom2 games is by owning original hardware with the original Laserdisc. Now, as of today, that is completely different, and I love that. Preservation should be for all video games, not just the popular platforms out there, and when it comes to platforms that really didn't have much of an install base, it doesn't get more esoteric than something like the Pioneer LaserActive. And I am so happy to hear that people are out there trying to make this work, and I'm sure we'll get improvements to make it better in the future. But you'll see here, I put that Robot Master down, or at least that's what I'm going to call him, because I'm assuming this is just a Mega Man game in disguise. All jokes aside, I don't actually think that, but it is the closest thing I can compare it to. But go ahead, follow those links, start emulating some Pioneer LaserActive LDRom, and have a great time. And trust me, Vajra, one of the smaller downloads and also one of the better games you can play on there, so it's worth waiting around for that 30 gigabyte download. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.